Welcome back. For those who use the internet, they must know that they cannot do without submarine cables that orbit the Earth. But sinking a cable into the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, and even the Arctic Ocean requires $1 billion logistical feat that requires months or even years to enact. And joining us this morning to talk more about this very interesting issue is Engineer Ahmed Mekky, board member and chief executive officer of one of the region's and the world's leading companies in submarine data cable operations. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Mr. Mekky, good morning.
Good morning.
It's amazing to know that the first transatlantic cables were formed in the 1860s. That's way back in history. So how are they different now from how they started before? Is it too much different?
Too much different. The nature of this industry and this technology is it's always growing rapidly. The changes of this industry nearly every year in a big scale. The connectivity between different places in the world, connect one place to one place between two different continents, needs a huge connectivity now, because the demand and the dependency on connectivity for people, for us individuals, for corporates, for countries, is increasing day by day. The dependency for us every day is increasing. Our kids increasing on connectivity, internet, making communication from one point to another point. This will require a better infrastructure that it will all huge amount of volume of data.
Okay. Engineer Ahmed Mekky, you repeated the word connectivity.
Yes.
So we're talking about the use of the submarine cables basically for the internet. Is it
Yes.
mainly the internet?
It's not only the internet, but it's internet is one of the main things that going the traffic on these cables, internet is part of it, but connecting one place to another place, carrying all the different types of traffic, serving different kinds of industries. So I'm talking about this kind of infrastructure is always a catalyst for the development of any sector, economical or non-economical sector.
Would you elaborate on this point?
I don't think any sector that we are dealing with on a daily basis does not depend in a great extent on good connectivity. Good connectivity for us means good business. If you have good connectivity, you can connect from one place to another place properly, and it's now one of the main rights for human being, rights to have water, electricity, and good connectivity. This kind of connectivity that's now is very advanced, it's highly needed in our region. Our region in a specific, one of the most growing regions in the world for the demand growth. It's nearly doubling every year. So talking about our region in a specific, for the last 4 years, from 2007 to 2011, it was doubling the traffic, reaching 2 terabit of data by 2011. 2 terabit is huge. Tera is million of million. So 2 terabit of data for 2011, it's no stretch of our imagination if we expect that this is going to be 4 terabit by 2012 and 8 terabit by 2013. So it's safe figure to say that it's doubling every year. It needs always better connectivity to carry this huge growth in the demand.
By the year?
Yes, doubling nearly every year.
By the year.
Yes. If we talk also about Egypt and the importance that Egypt is geographically well positioned to connect the world, to connect east to west, north to south. Egypt got another Suez Canal. I'm calling it the electronic Suez Canal, connecting the different places in the world. And this is geographically the best location in the world and the shortest one to serve and provide this kind of connectivity between the different continents, in a specific Africa, Asia, and Europe. This region is well positioned to be the central hub between these 3 continents.
Engineer Mekky, your company seems to be building a first ever privately owned and independently operated submarines in the Gulf region. So that's a very big phrase, a very interesting one. Explain to us, how are you doing that, and in detail, what could be expected after you establish that net of submarines, that cable, submarine cables? What is going to happen? Is it going to be revolutionary in the Gulf region? Lots of changes are going to happen in the on the internet?
Good question, and yes, this statement, I agree with you. It's a strong, bold statement, providing this kind of the first ever privately owned system to connect this region to the world and connect the world to this region. This never happened before for us as a people from this region, Arabs, to invest in this very advanced technology and own our infrastructure. We deserve to own our infrastructure. This is a national security from one angle. This is a catalyst, as I mentioned, for development for all the other sectors. And one of the main measures, if you want to just measure the how this country is developing, how this region is developing, look at the connectivity, if they have good connectivity. This project, we started the first ever to provide this kind of connectivity, but got a lot of challenges. Now we are happy to announce that it's ready now to serve the region. It has been built for the last 30 months, building this subsea cable. It's more than 13,000 kilometers of subsea cable. The only terrestrial part of this cable is Egypt, crossing Egypt from Za'farana to Abu Talat, and it's around 400 kilometers, and the rest all undersea, underwater, subsea cable. It's, as I can just, if you allow me, just to show you how this network looks like. As you can see, this cable, it's main loop in the Gulf, connecting all the countries in the, around the Gulf with branches to this loop. This loop is providing a great level of diversity, resilience, so if any cut, for example, happened when we heard about the cable cuts and how this is affecting the connectivity, this loop is providing a sort of a self-healing. So if any cut happened on one part of the loop, the traffic will automatically reroute it to the other. So the customer, you at home, not be affected if any cable cut. So the traffic, you will not feel this self-healing process.
So this is a way to solve a potential problem.
Exactly, exactly. This is one of the great advantages that this network, which is, we're proud to say, using the latest technology, also with eastward connectivity to Bombay, India. This is the east wing of the network, with a west route going around the Arabian Peninsula, Red Sea, Za'farana in Egypt, crossing Egypt with a diversified route, Abu Talat, West Alexandria, going to the Mediterranean, around 2,000 kilometers of subsea south of Italy, in Sicily. But we did not stop there. Like what used to be on most of the subsea cables previously. We extended this network all over the western part of Europe to the main business hubs in Europe. So in Paris, and London, Frankfurt, Amsterdam, and Milan. So this connectivity providing a sort of an end-to-end connectivity for us from the start point to the destination here. This is also the first time to happen to provide one network with this size to serve this specific region. Another area also that of the capacity that this network is going to provide, it's up to 10 terabit of capacity, which is huge capacity to serve the region's need for connectivity now and for numbers of years. This is a start. We expect other projects to follow this project in the direction that we should own our infrastructure. It's very critical and very important for us to have this kind of control of this very important asset, very critical asset for us.
Engineer Ahmed, Mekky, you just talked about the fact that such systems or this project or this submarine cables, they need yearly upgrade. Did you put this into consideration while building this new project or system? Because you said you talked about a huge capacity.
Yes,
and
it's the network designed for scalable upgrade for the network. The current technology which is used, without going into deep, complicated technical details, this is the first network in the region to use what is called 40 gig technology. This is, in brief, like 4 times that used to be the capacity of any other system.
So it's taking into consideration the fact that developments will occur by the minute.
Exactly. And this is the first network in the world to use the 100 gig technology in some parts of the network. Other networks now contracted for that in different places in the world, all over the globe, but they are in the process of deploying it. We are also proud to be the first network to deploy this in the world. Providing this kind of advanced network to our region, this is what we deserve, and we deserve more for that. So we should look at, okay, we have this good infrastructure, we have to look at the verticals, what kind of services that we can offer to this region. But we should start by having a good, solid ground, good infrastructure.
Right. Engineer Mekky, also, in addition to all the uses that you have mentioned, those submarine cables should be also regarded as a real-time global climate surveillance network, and they could be also used as a tsunami warning system and for earthquakes and for all the changes in the climate. Could they?
Right. I agree with you 100%. It's the sky is the limit for the applications that can be used, and real-time application that can be used on this network. Actually, these networks are required, are the main enabler to provide this kind of applications and to this kind of usage. They are very complicated in the medical side, very complicated remote operations that you can handle it, but you need this different area, the airline, the banking, education is one of the sectors that needs also proper and good connectivity. Our students, I think now our kids at home now, their homework, so they need to connect to the internet, and they do it sometimes online, connecting them to the world, providing this kind of access is very essential in our life.
Are those submarine cables sometimes prone to any natural disasters? I mean, could they be affected in case of any natural disaster?
If you're talking about earthquakes or things like this, this can affect, this kind of network affects everything. But we try as much as we can. We do this kind of protection or resilience on this network. For example, as I showed in the network, this kind of loop, this kind, yes, and also the 2 routes, east and west. So if any problem happened in one of these wings, the traffic also rerouted on the other side. So we'll provide this connectivity on the other route. So the connectivity, the quality will maybe a little bit less, but it will not disappear. You remember in 2008, early 2009, when cable cuts happened, I remember these puzzled faces when we will go back to connectivity, when we will go back to business. All our business affected, different kinds of industries lost millions and billions of dollars because they were disconnected from the world. So it's a very essential part of our life now. Individuals, institutions, corporates, enterprises, countries. So I'm very biased to that, but I believe it's a main thing in our life that we should control it. We should have also the understanding for the importance of always upgrading and maintaining these networks and having the kind of capacity available to serve our needs in the different kinds of businesses.
Okay. Engineer Ahmed, Mekky, having or talking about a project with such magnitude makes me ask you, are submarine cables privately owned or basically governmental?
There are 2 kinds. So if we're talking about the global trend of this industry, there are 2 types of, it's a club system, which different operators, some of them government-owned or non-government-owned, they identify their need for the connectivity, so they contribute together to build the network to connect them together. Privately owned networks, this is a new trend, started in the last 5 years. We are the first one in our region. I believe this is the future because there is something we wanted to maintain, the neutral identity of the ownership. This was one of the main pillars that will help this network to serve everybody neutrally, fair access. So we're not controlled by any specific operator. It used to be before there was only one operator per country, but now with the deregulation and the liberalization of the telecommunication sector in different countries all over the region, you have now 2 or 3 operators. They should compete to better quality and better price for the end user, not to compete by controlling the access. So we did not want to be under the mercy or the control of any specific operator. We have no operator in the shareholding or equity ownership of this company. We have sovereign wealth funds from this region, so we are from the region and for the region, providing this kind of neutral, fair access to all the countries equally, with no control from one country on another country or one operator to other operators.
How much would such a network cost you?
The first phase is $500 million. This was the first phase. There are other phases in the future for expanding horizontally and vertically. Horizontally, for example, reaching to other places in the globe. So we're considering
Asia.
Exactly. This is actually one of our first targets, exactly, going eastward after India. I mentioned before that the volume of traffic is moving and doubling nearly every year. But also the trend and the pattern of this traffic is going to change. It used to be always one way. Destination always Europe and North America. Now we have contents from our region, Arabic contents. So this will create a more balanced traffic, both ways, going and coming. We used always to receive. I expect in the coming years, the traffic will be going both ways. So it's like a highway, but there is a balanced traffic going on the different lanes in this direction and coming back. Also, there is another trend that I'm sure that also we will see, that instead of all the access and the connectivity and the traffic is going westward, we will see some balance also on the going eastward. India, Singapore, this important region in the world.
Engineer Ahmed Mekky, board member and chief executive officer of one of the region's and world's leading companies in submarine data cable operations. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And I guess this brings us to the end of this edition of the Breakfast Show for this morning. Many thanks to him for keeping my company. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And make sure that you join us tomorrow morning, but with another new crew. Until then, that's a goodbye.